Most often, objects of art are seemingly born out of magic, out of thin air. An artist can draw a landscape from a dream, or sculpt a form of beauty out of a raw chunk of rock. The process of giving birth to these artworks is intensely personal and private, and it is this gift of the artist to the world that makes him or her vulnerable. With heart opened for the world to see, the ineffable finally becomes touchable and is spoken aloud. When in a state of flow, breathing slows, and a peaceful calm takes over the body, as the mind ceases to race and worry, and the heart takes over as the organ most in charge of the creative activity. This has long-lasting effects on our total being in the most positive ways. Self-esteem is enhanced. Deep confidence takes root. Depression fades away. The more one lives in this divine state of grace, the younger one feels. I have always believed that when the ancient blacksmiths forged the swords and shields of ancient warriors, that with each blow of his hammer, he was actually transferring cosmic power into the metal, beating his message into the metal. Like the mythical god Vulcan, the god of fire, metalsmithing, and craftsmen, it is also a belief that the blacksmith is a shaman, in that he is able to mutate, transform all of his materials into objects of mystical power. In fact, all artists are indeed shamans, for they all rely on dreams, unseen spirit helpers, to bring inspiration and insight in order to transmute negative intrusions into positive power. Marshall McLuhan, the great sociologist, said that the artist is the antenna of society, and that it is their social duty to make the ineffable into something that society can understand, and by which be then uplifted spiritually. Art is therefore a kind of tonic, a medicine that heals and assists humanity in its trials and tribulations. One-of-a-kind art objects are very often the first prototypes of freshly hatched ideas, sometimes hastily whipped together to capture the essence of the vision. These quick sketches are in themselves so valuable because they hold the spontaneous gestures of the idea, each a spark of a bigger flame. There is a life force within each unique work of art. Not to belittle any production work, but nothing can take the place of the original piece, for it holds the original instruction and the DNA of the maker. Handmade copies are potent in their quality of being handmade, but nothing compares to the very first original masterwork from which massive production may follow. When I was curating my jewelry gallery Artware from 1977 to 95, I sought to find artists whose work was a clear reflection of their soul, whereby each and every piece carried the unique hand of its maker, like a fingerprint or a DNA sample. If someone whose jewelry was nice, but not particularly original, or had no spirit to it, I would coax them to become autobiographical with their work, to learn to speak their unique voice through their hands. The power and success of Artware was in the consistency of the integrity of each artist to reveal themselves through their work. As a practicing shaman today, I know that when an object of art is truly the original first one and is made by the artist him herself, that it carries the high vibration that was instilled into its atomic structure. There is in the unique, one-of-a-kind object qualities of manufacturing that are rich with story, with tradition, and history of the craft. What makes this unique piece so special is the still living, fresh imprint of the impulse to be born. For all art is the language of our higher selves. That is actually the soul's invitation for us to join unity consciousness, where we are all one and we remember who we truly are. But what about those of us who are not artists or athletes, singers or performers, but just people who have desk jobs and families to support and manage during this financially challenging time in our history? The state of bliss, flow, can be experienced by absolutely everyone. A medical study came out decades ago proving that test patients trying to wean themselves off of Prozac had a much easier time of it if they did the following easy things: eat salmon and oatmeal regularly, chew gum or do something repetitive with your body, and keep your hands and fingers busy. Suggestions are crocheting, weaving, macrame, needlepoint drawing, shaping clay, cooking, chopping, preparing vegetables, weeding in the garden, trimming your hedges, cleaning your home, dusting, washing windows, and really focus on making any positive creative activity one that you can really focus on without any distractions. Be mindful of doing this and challenge yourself to do a particularly good job at performing so that what you do becomes a matter of pride and pleasure. So, the calming of the body happens when you can stay intently focused on even a menial task, as this starts to enter into the real Zen concentration. If you have ever tried walking meditation, this shows you how you can be up and about and still be in a focused state of meditation, a healing state if there ever was one. All humanity needs to find that quiet, calm space. All humanity is searching for this space within themselves to rest and rejuvenate. We can't find it. We don't have the time. We are racing. No matter what one does for a living, we find ourselves grabbing a few minutes any way we can, like playing games on our iPhones while riding the subway, so that we can have just a few minutes of letting our minds go numb like a vegetable and stop that chattering mind, to stop the ego. When I'm on the subway and I see a person pull out her knitting and begin to wield her needles and in front of all the people on the train proceeds to start to make a scarf with a string that's coming out of her bag, I find myself falling into the vortex that she's creating around her. I feel myself staring at her hands, feeling my whole body relax and go limp with the hypnotic movement of her deft and skilled fingers. And I feel myself salivating because there's a increase in the cortisol whenever your body goes into this kind of calm state, which means that I might actually be drooling. And then I look around and find a few other people a little bit drooling too. And we are all caught in this web of magic that this knitter has spun, unwittingly, knowing that all these people are caught in her state of flow. For this experience is where you're able to share another person's state of flow. And this is what happens when we attend a ballet performance or watch a singer at Carnegie Hall. We're all sucked into the performer's state of flow, and we become merged with them. This is meditative. This is relaxing. This is the secret of falling into unity consciousness, another way of being in heaven. The fact that most of my time is spent in a state of flow makes me really content, deep inside, very happy. And being as addicted to it as possible, I find myself shutting off the distracting, bothersome whining of everyday life's conditions and just retreating into my work. Once I start making jewelry and I hit my stride, I become the portal through which a direct download of divine original instruction flows into my crown like a shaft of light. It fills my body with this power of sheer beauty, perfect sacred geometry, flowing through my veins, throwing through all of my energy points. Now this sounds very woo-woo, I know, but I'm trying to articulate the ineffable here, folks, and it is nearly impossible to put it into words. The multi-dimensional visions that we all have, usually as dreams or often as a daydream, an image that is in our mind, but has a personality and a movement and a sound and a smell and a taste. And when a person can take all of that and bring it to life as an object, then we say it is art, for it becomes the definition of art, which is the expression or application of human creative skill and imagination, typically into a visual form that is appreciated for its emotional power and beauty. What they don't ever say is that the work of art also carries the genetic code of its maker, and therefore holds tremendous spiritual power. Thank you for